This Week in London, number 33, the Docklands Light Railway, brought to you by Red Carnation Hotels at www.redcarnation.com.
Listen to This Week in London. It's a bloody marvellous podcast.
Good old Blighty.
London calling, I live by the river.
Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duty. So bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its commonwealths last for 1,000 years, men will still say,
No, I'm a doctor, not a mechanic. I'm a doctor, not an engineer. I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Utter one more syllable and I'll have you killed.
Hi and welcome to This Week in London. It's a podcast about my hometown and I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I do. I love this city and I want to share in some of the things that happen here, tell you a little about what's going on, tell you what to do, what not to do, things to avoid and things to enjoy. And good evening everybody, this is Paul and this is This Week in London number 33. In this episode I'm going to be playing you an interview I did with two really nice guys over at Docklands Light Railway. I'll introduce them a bit later on, but I'd sat down with these two senior guys at the Docklands Light Railway and we just chewed the fat over the railway. I hope you get a lot out of it. It was certainly a lot of fun to do. In the normal way I'm going to kick off with some music. This is 12th Night and this is Sequences.
numbers of dead will contain many zeros. The survivors will return to an unfit hero. so scared. I can't wait for heaven tonight to be over. Heaven tonight to be over. station platform full of stretchered flesh and bone. Legacy of how easy it is to destroy whatever's grown. Maybe there's a reason that is worthy of a name. Just sick illusion, I suppose, will happen again. Next time they ask for minutes, please stand beyond recall. I didn't gain my self-respect, I didn't gain anything at all. I didn't gain my self-respect, I didn't gain anything at
Those of you who've been listening to me for a long time will recognise huge chunks of that track. I used to use that in my theme music for the Flashing 12 podcast that I used to do quite a few years ago now. But that was the whole track in its entirety, called Sequences. It's on a number of 12th Night albums, but that particular version is on Live and Let Live, which is their last live recording with Jeff Mann doing the vocal duties there. One of my favourite tracks of all time. So thanks to 12th Night for permission to play. Links in the show notes in the usual place at www.thisweekinlondon.co.uk. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Docklands Light Railway. Now, you will have already, if you've come to this and you're listening to this through the website, you will already have seen the large map. We refer to the map in the upcoming interview on a number of occasions, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. Docklands Light Railway is east of London. It covers journeys from Lewisham in the south, Stratford in the north, Bank Station and Tower Gateway in the west, and out to Canning Town and the London City Airport in the east. One thing you need to bear in mind about the Docklands Light Railway is that there's actually no driver on the train. They have they used to call them train captain, but I suppose they've been given something far more posh name like passenger service assistant or something. But essentially there used to be a guy called the train captain, and he would look after the train. But all of the control, the acceleration, the brake, pulling into the stations, all controlled by computer. And you'll hear us talking about sitting up the front and pretending to be a driver. Well, you can on these trains because there is no driver. Just a quick word about audio quality on the actual recording of the interview. It's recorded on my Marantz recorder, my PMD 620. It's stuck in the middle of a desk on Fort Blatt, so you get to hear absolutely everything. You do from time to time hear trains going past. We're literally right by the Docklands Light Railway when this is recorded, so every so often you hear the chuk-a-dun of the train going by. Adds a note of realism, but you soon get tuned in to the quality. Thanks very much. Here we go. Could you just explain who you are and what your respective roles are?
Sure. I'm Nick O'Donnell. I work as the Development Projects Manager within DLR. My role, very, very simply, is to try and plan and develop the network going forward. And it involves principally looking at extensions to the railway, new stations, and enhancements to existing parts of the network. So it may be areas around the stations, or looking at new strategies, for example, introducing public art, or cycle parking, or climate change policies that fit with the DLR. So it's kind of quite a broad remit.
Okay. And I'm David Sanders. My job title is Publicity and Stakeholder Manager. And it's my responsibility to publicise the various extensions and improvements we've got going on to DLR. And that covers a wide range of people, from sort of the media to local residents to local businesses, and making sure that people are informed all the time of what's going on and what the various timescales are and how they can be impacted on what DLR is planning in and around where they live.
Thank you very much. I've been using the DLR since March of '88. All right, and I think, as I remember, it opened up in August '87.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back then it was, let's say, it had its own challenges back then, didn't it?
But they're massive.
It's been moved on. It's moved on a tad since then.
Yeah.
What did they used to call it back then? It was
Toy Town Railway.
Well, there was the Docklands Lego Railway,
Yeah.
Noddy's Little Railway. I mean, terribly unfair, but back then it had its own challenge. I guess what would be useful, just to talk about the history, where it's come from, why it's here, what it's all about, where we are today, stats and usage and where we go, and perhaps most importantly, the future.
Okay.
Because I know it's got a rosy future and lots of good things expecting to happen. So, opened in '87. Why?
It was primarily to serve existing businesses and dock workers. It was seen very much as a kind of working man's link to various sectors within the Isle of Dogs specifically.
Right.
It was funded through government and seen as a kind of low level of investment at the time. I think 77 million.
77 million, yeah, that's what I...
So it was seen as a kind of cheap but effective way of getting people to traverse across an area where there was a real lack of public transport. We didn't have the Jubilee line, it had very poor bus services, it didn't really connect anywhere.
That's
and
right,
it was seen
because
as a point-to-point kind of get you there.
Docklands originally wasn't planned to be this
Absolutely.
super mega high-rise.
Yeah.
It was all meant to be... Because I remember when I first moved here, I was working down at Skylines Village, and it was all supposed to be those sort of low-rise... stuff, and then Harbour Exchange started being built while I was there, so that was March 88. Boom, 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 the poles going in, which made work somewhat complicated. And then it moved on, and then, of course, Canary Wharf started, and it all went crazy after that.
It was kind of the early 80s with the enterprise zones. I don't know if you remember the government sort of bringing all that in, and it was about encouraging businesses into the area, bringing up the levels of investment. And the biggest cry was, well, hang on a minute, we need something to get our workers here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. What can you do, government? And they came up with the idea of well, it's kind of the LDDC as it was, kind of the ideas around sort of a transport fixer link to take point to point.
Absolutely. And back then it was single car trains, 2 coaches. Am I going mental? I mean, were you guys here when it opened, or have you?
No, I used it at the time, and know obviously people and worked with people who were around at the time. It was actually planned as a 1-car railway. Yeah. And it was only right at the death when it was all to go. Everyone panicked with some of the numbers that were coming in and thought, we should really plan this for 2-car. And so the late change, it was a late change, came to make it 2-car.
Absolutely. But back then it was it faster? Because it had those stickers on. I've still got one at home, hold on tight, high performance vehicle stickers actually on the inside of the train. And it seemed to take off much quicker than it does today.
That to be honest with you, is more likely to be a reflection of the loadings on the trains than anything else. Performance-wise, it hasn't changed, but in those days, the density and the numbers we'd be using were very light, and hence it could shuttle around a lot quicker, and also the dwell times at stations wasn't as long because there wasn't so people using
dwell time,
so the amount of time hanging around at the stations, because of the amount of people now using it and particularly loading on it. We've done tests in the depot when they use like big barrels of water, and they set up them on the trains. Clearly, there is going to be a slight marginality in a heavier weight.
Because again, I'm going from 20 years. That's a long time, isn't it? Are you going to celebrate 21 years, or have you already done it?
We celebrated 20, and that was seen as a major milestone. I don't know what David. I mean, probably 25, maybe.
Yeah, we're doing a little thing for the 21st anniversary. We're looking to unveil a document which is going to give sort of a history of the Docklands. So it will cover what we've discussed so far, and go back a little bit further in time and just really explore the local area and show things how things have developed to the current day. But we did an awful lot for the 20th anniversary, well, our next focus after that will probably be 25.
Golden Jubilee, Silver Jubilee. Silver Jubilee. So, we're here today. I mean, it started off, and again, I'm going from memory.
That's right, use the scan, that helps.
Ooh, okay. Can I scan this and put this up?
Of course you can. Yeah,
lovely. Because when I started, it was Island Gardens to Tower Gateway, and Island Gardens to Stratford.
That's exactly how it's mapped out on there. We've even done it in a way to help ourselves to remind ourselves.
Right, okay, exactly. So the original DLR route, existing extensions, under wow. Okay. All the way out to Dagenham.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put this up on the website so everyone will be able to see what we're talking about here. But what are you now? You started off at 13 kilometres of track, didn't it? And then now it's at 30 odd now.
It was 11 kilometres, I think, at the start.
Right.
And 15 units. So the other way around, so it was 11 units and 15 kilometres.
Right, and it's 30 odd now.
And now it's 31.
Okay. Yeah. I've done my research.
Very good. So have we.
Oh no, we're going to get interviewed. Oh Lord. When did Bank open?
Bank was 94.
94, because I remember that opening and this amazing adventure. You sit up. Everyone sits up the front of the train when they can. Even though I'm 46, I like to sit up the front of the train, pretend I'm driving. But going down into the tunnel for the first time was quite an amazing experience. I mean, when you did it for the first time, did you just get this sort of overwhelming, like a roller coaster thing going in?
The speed of it, I think, is a big part. Going back to your earlier point, the network doesn't pick up a lot of speed generally because of the close proximity of the stations. But that's one point where kind of let's rip down, going downhill, if you like, and it is quite an experience going through it, Certainly when it opened, it caused a lot of furore for that.
Yeah, and one of the things, I mean, we talked about that just very briefly, about sitting up the front and pretending to drive, but this is a completely automatic system, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
9 times out of 10, there's no driver, it's all done by computer.
I'm actually sitting here thinking Bank was 91 and Beckton was 94.
Oh yeah, it was 91.
So, sorry to correct myself on that one, but I have a feeling it was 91 on Bank and 94 for Beckton.
I think you find it's the other way around. Wikipedia says Tunnel to Bank Underground Station, which opened in 91. I wasn't going to correct you.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
All right.
Sorry, I was just saying
confusing ourselves now,
The Bank's 91 and Beckton was 94.
Gotcha, okay.
So I remember the 10-year anniversary of that. So.
Okay. And the second phase of expansion was Bank, and then more recently down to Lewisham, and then
it was Bank, then Beckton.
Bank, then Beckton. Okay, so
In
where you could run
94.
straight through from Bank.
Yeah, so you had the connections across here, and then it started looking south towards Lewisham in 99.
I mean, the killer for me now is the fact that you can go straight to London City Airport on the DLR from Bank Station. I mean, I work at Old Street, so I drop down too and just get the DLR straight through, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Because that opened pretty recently, in the last
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many people does DLR carry now?
I think the latest figures are about 66, 67 million.
Passenger
Annual journeys.
People journeys.
Yeah, annual journeys on the DLR. And that's forecast to be 80 million by next year. So the level of growth and the rate of growth.
What are you doing to make sure they all fit?
Well, the key thing is really it's concentrated in very large parts on the DLR, particularly around the core. And what we're doing is we're upgrading the central part of the DLR from Bank Tower Gateway down to Lewisham to 3-car trains and 3-car improvements along various platforms.
Okay.
So that's where you'll carry the core of those growth numbers, because they really are focused around the Isle of Dogs.
Okay.
With all the developments you can see just outside the window. Basically.
Absolutely. I'll probably take some pictures later on
Sure,
and post them up.
absolutely,
Okay. I think what else we need to cover. It's been around since 87. We're here in 2008, 20 odd years later. You've got more extensions coming all the way out to Dagenham Dock. You're going down to. So is that another tunnel at Woolwich Arsenal?
Yep, Woolwich Arsenal basically. King George is level to the surface that you have effectively, and then as it leaves the station, it starts to dive down into a tunnel section. And then it's a tunnel underneath the Thames, about sort of 30 metres in depth. Okay. And then as it comes out, it's still in tunnel, but it heads sort of rising up slowly towards Woolwich Town Centre. Okay. And it'll tuck in next to and link into the existing Royal Arsenal station.
So is that tunnel? Have they broken through? Are they?
Yeah, all the tunnel sections were done last year, and there's two twin bore tunnels that are now complete. And all they're really doing now is just the final fit out works, which will be completed in the next few months, and then testing and commissioning, and it's ready to open.
So when? September?
Early next year. Probably
okay.
January, February 2009.
Wow. So, okay, let's go right back to the beginning again. I just want to cover, it's difficult enough in London finding space to build a road. Where did you get the space to build the Docklands Light Railway in Docklands? And clearly there's a lot of old dock sides and that sort of stuff. What was the infrastructure there to start off with in terms of railway track, and did you have to build a lot of things to make it happen?
On the early part of the railway, some of the fortune that was on our side was that we did use some old railway corridors. So for example, up towards Stratford there was an old railway line that ran that way, and albeit none of the infrastructure was there, the sort of parallel line of where it used to be remained open. It remained open and just kind of brownfield grass, open area. So we didn't have that much property to demolish on certain sections, and also we were in an area which was very underdeveloped at the time, not like what you see out here now. There was a lot of open sites, land that was just sitting there waiting for something to happen. So we had the fortune of being there early in the process, that there was a lot of open space that we could use and we could plan around that. Yes, there was a small element of property involvement, but we were fortunate the timing of it, and the fact that DLR, compared to say trams, because it's segregated, it doesn't have to run on the street, say, like something like Croydon Tramlink. Therefore you can kind of pull it away and be a bit more flexible with how you interface. So we can drop it into tunnel, we can run it level, we can run it up on stilts if you like, on viaduct. And because we had that flexibility, we could try and sort of go up and around and over what was there as well. Compared to something like a normal tram system which has to run on the street, it's very constrained in that way, and hence it is more likely to hit upon problems with other property.
Smashing. So I'm going to edit all this down anyway.
No, that's fine. Sure. If I'm rambling on,
No. To be honest, I've got I do a show and it's around half an hour anyway. So the more the merrier, really. I mean, if you've got anecdotes and things like that you want to tell about life with the DLR, then do just fire away.
Yeah, no, great.
So I don't do very many interviews. I tend to be selling stuff for a living.
It's probably worth mentioning the Stratford International extension as well.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, with a lot of the DLR, people sometimes forget that it takes years, and I mean several years, to often get projects off the ground. So we have the ideas, and I guess there's an element of frustration that it takes several years to see these things through. But we do a lot of sort of demand forecasting, looking at the future and try and work out where are the growth areas, what's likely to happen. And Stratford's a good example, and the Stratford International line, which is due to open in 2010, is an example of where we identified there was an existing railway line there, the old North London line that still runs but up to Stratford now. And the levels of use were very low through there, but the potential demand and change because of the Olympics and all the regeneration meant that was never really going to be enough, and we managed to negotiate taking over an existing railway line that was live at the time, bringing extra new stations in between areas that were going to grow, and then connecting up towards the Channel Tunnel rail link station at Stratford International. So that gave us an opportunity to really kind of regenerate areas along an existing railway corridor, which is going great guns at the moment in terms of construction.
So planned open 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Okay, so hopefully it'll all be up and running and fully operational by the time the Olympics.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, we're looking well in advance of the Olympics to allow us at least kind of 18 months, 2 years time to sort of test and bed in the whole.
So is that going to link into Eurostar services as well?
Yes, it will have connections there. Yes, at Stratford International.
So, fantastic. So for me, I live down in Sidcup, so I can get a taxi to Lewisham, taxi to Woolwich, and up for the Eurostar there, or back out to
Indeed, domestic and other services all the way through there. So there's the great kind of gateway opportunity that runs through Stratford International.
Okay, so that's taking us out to the best part, 18 months or so.
Yep.
I mean, do you have vision views of where you're going to go after that, or is this...
In terms of extensions, the last one on the map is Dagenham Dock, which we've recently just put in powers for. So we've got an outline design now. We've given our plans to government, if you like, and we're now looking to secure approval to go towards construction for that. We still have to secure all of the capital funding for actually building it, but we have approval we did have approval from the last mayor, and the current one has not expressed any discomfort with it to run a new line from Galleons Reach to Dagenham Dock, and we're looking for that to be open in 2017.
Ouch, that's a long way out.
So it's long-term planning, but again, it's about picking up lots of areas of development and new growth that's happening slowly but surely in that zone.
Wow.
Is there anything we could... You've mentioned anecdotes as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything can you think of anything, Nick, sort of bring it to life, some sort of real-life example of anything on the Dagenham Dock?
What about the Queen when she opened it? Can you tell us a story about that? Because I know that is actually quite...
A bit of a myth, isn't it?
Is it an urban myth, or is it...
Yeah, it is a bit of an urban myth.
All right, it's your chance to tell the true story then and put Wikipedia right.
Yeah, well... There's a suggestion that the Queen was on DLR and she got caught for quite a substantial period of time because there was some sort of failure on board, which meant that the door shut and she couldn't get out. And which wouldn't be ideal on your opening day.
No.
And having spoken to somebody who was there on the day, they told me it's a bit of an exaggeration. And she was on DLR for longer than she was meant to. But that wasn't because there was a problem with the train. It was because she was running so far ahead of schedule that she had to stay there for a few minutes whilst her sort of minute-by-minute itinerary caught up with itself.
Right, so you would have programmed, in inverted commas, you would have programmed the train that the Queen would arrive at this point, the train would leave at that point. Because she arrived so much early, so early, the train wasn't ready to leave.
Yeah.
Its timetable time hadn't come and gone.
I'm not sure whether it was an issue with sort of the programming of the train or whether somebody from Her Majesty's side said, can we just hold things here for a few minutes?
Yep.
Because there's so much security elements involved with a royal visit. You have to make sure that everything's sort of down to the nearest second. And so, yeah, it looks like it was a little bit of an urban myth.
Bit actually over-egging it on the part of the press, or?
I've no idea, to be honest with you. But something like that is a far better story than just saying it was because the Queen's itinerary had to catch up with itself.
Right, because there's another part in this Wikipedia story which sounds like... I read this on the way in and I just thought, now this is nonsense. It says, at the station, a member of the Royal Security Detail used the emergency exit to lead the train ahead of the Queen before it fully stopped. This caused the train to make an emergency stop in the station, short of its normal position, out of range of the docking beacon that marked its arrival point. The train doors would not open, impeding the Queen's exit for several minutes.
Oh, right, yeah.
That just sounds like total fabrication to me. But
yeah, I'm not sure about that.
It
doesn't tally with what I have heard. And if you look at the pictures at the time, you can see the Queen at the front of the DLR
pretending to drive.
Yeah, that's right. There doesn't seem to be some sort of major kerfuffle with people throwing themselves off at platforms when they shouldn't. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that.
I have a suspicion, certainly in the latter part of that, from what you said, it ties in quite nicely. A bit of over-egging by the press, and then I think somebody's making up stories at the end there just to make it a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of people sitting at the front of DLR trains pretending to drive, we, about a year ago, I think, in Time Out magazine, they produced a list of the 50 best things to do in London. And I think it was about number 43 was to sit in the front of a DLR train, and pretend to drive it. And the popularity of that, I think, David, you could expand on.
There's
how it's taken on.
There's a Facebook group now which is dedicated to people who like to sit at the front of DLR and pretend they're driving. And I should say at this point, it's not some...
I'm a member.
Good man. And also, it's not some cynical PR ploy that I've come up with. It was created entirely independently. And it's got about 3,500 members now, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's great to see so many people enjoying
Admitting it.
Yeah, that's right. Admitting it first of all, but then there's lots of pictures on there and that kind of thing. And for anyone who is a member of that group, I think people at DLR thoroughly enjoy reading about it, and we get a big buzz out of reading about people's experiences on it and so on. So it's great to see something like that.
Because it was through that group that you mentioned the goodie bags that you... I mean, how much...
Yeah, that's right. Originally I put a message on the group just saying, if you're interested in a goodie bag, please let me know. And we thought, if there's 3,500 members on this group, maybe 200 or 300 of them or so, we'll put in a request. Anyway, 5,000 requests later, it's kept us quite busy.
I would imagine it's blown the budget for goodie bags as well.
Well, we were in a slightly fortunate position because, having celebrated our 20th anniversary recently, we did have a few things which we were keeping hold of, sort of for future records and that kind of thing. So we've been in a position to send that out, and we do like to produce giveaways to coincide with particular milestones being reached. So we've been quite fortunate in the sense that we have got enough to keep all of those people satisfied, but if numbers keep going up, then I'm not sure I'll be looking in people's bins for stuff to send out to them.
Just delete the comment on the board.
Yeah, that's right, but the thing is, it's spread now. You know what the internet's like, it's
Yeah.
spread, and it's on lots of different message boards and things like
All
that.
the train enthusiasts all over
That's
the world
right.
are writing in saying, can I have a goodie bag? Yeah.
That's right, and I mean, it's funny from our perspective because obviously it's kept us very busy, but when you read the really nice comments people make when they're sending the emails in, when you get a lot of really positive feedback having sent stuff out, then it's great, and from our perspective, we're based out here in East London in Poplar, and it's great to know that there's websites which are dedicated to DLR, and it's great to know that people are willing to get in touch with you, and it really makes it all worthwhile when you get all of those good comments coming in, and people have even sent in pictures of themselves with the various paraphernalia we've been sending out, and it's just makes it all worthwhile. It's fantastic.
I mean, I got a goodie bag from you, and thanks very much for
Pleasure.
it. But and it was a little watch, and I gave it to my nephew, and he's so happy to have a watch with a train on the front of it. It's just his little face. I mean, he's 7 years old, and he's delighted. Lives in France, and he's so happy. He's got this multicoloured watch with a picture of the DLR on the front. He's like, that's brilliant.
I'm glad we've gone global as well. That's
I mean, if you look at the Facebook, look at where people are. They are all over the world on the DLR Facebook group. It's just incredible.
Yeah, that's right. So as I say, it's we're based in this office in East London, and you've got so many fans out there and all that kind of thing, and it's great. And it really, as I say, it genuinely does make it worthwhile when you're wading through the thousands of requests that we've received.
Yeah, careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Yeah. Well, that's brilliant, chaps. Thanks very much. That's 20 odd minutes. I mean, that's
Great.
Fantastic. Couldn't wish for more.
Pleasure.
I think the only other anecdote I can think of, or story that causes a bit of amusement in our office is about 5 years ago we had an 11-year-old boy who wrote in with a letter suggesting some ideas for extensions to the DLR, and it sat around in our office for about a month or so, simply that because no one had the time to pick it up. So I picked up the letter and thought, I've got to reply to this kid. He's spent a lot of time and effort to sort of draw these diagrams and what have you. And I responded back with a letter, and then about a month later he wrote back to me saying, thanks very much, here's some more ideas, some more drawings. And 5 years later we're still corresponding. He's now moved on to emails, and he did work experience for us last year, and he's coming back in to work for us again in the summer. So
that's wonderful, isn't it?
It's quite a touchy-feely story, but
but also he wasn't a million miles away in some of the suggestions he was making either.
We had some confidential plans which we'd sort of drawn up, with leading architects, and he sort of did a 15-year-old boy's sketch, and you could have put the two next to each other.
really?
And you would have struggled to have found the difference. It was quite alarming to us.
So I'm assuming he's working in the project development.
Yeah, so we sacked the architects and brought him on board. So.
Save a fortune, yeah. Work experience, boy, rather than 50 million quid a year on architects or whatever it is. Oh, that's brilliant. I like that story. Okay, anything else?
No, goodness.
I think we're done.
Yeah,
great.
Gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much for your time.
Good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good one. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. I really enjoyed doing that interview and it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it too, and I hope you, my faithful listeners, are bearing with me now that we are dramatically overshooting my normal half an hour length of show. So we're now rattling on at 43 minutes. I'm going to play two more songs and then I'm going to get straight out of here. So the first one is by Wes Brooks. It's called Parker, and the second one is by no, it's not by 12th Night, it's by Black Lab. So it's Wes Brooks with a track called Parker, and then we're going to play the new one from Black Lab.
Drawing in, I'm calling you, my dear, the leaves are falling. This is a gift to you. Can I share it too? The light moves on, the sky gets darker. Cold outside, put on your parka. Step out. In a dream, I saw you. You were beautiful, girl, in a dress I could see through. And the colors that surround you, like neon on the avenue. The people all around you were dust in my eyes. And I wanted to believe you, the lies that I could see through, but I never got between you. The ghost in your mind, yeah, the ghost in your mind. Is there in your eyes, there in your voice, but you're far away, you're far away. It's there in your eyes, there on your face, but you're far away, far away, far away. You're far away. On a day like today, I remember how beautiful you could be to me. And the colors that surround you, like a prince had come and found you, picked you up and crowned you, the land of the blind. And I wanted to believe you, the lies that I could see through, but I never got between you.